Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at you for a little week five of NFL action. Um, Sorry for the delay. Of course, the lighting's not as good either. During the nighttime, my skin kind of it reflects all available light because it's so white. So it makes the effects look a little weird. But hey, we're coming up on Halloween. It's October, spooky season. Ooh, so just par for the course. Of course, Hogs lost to Bama. We're able to fight back, get it within, what is it, like 4 points, 5 points, something like that. Yeah, it was like 28-23 or something, I think. And then, looks like we're going to give the ball back again, 3rd and 15, and 77 yards later, and a few plays later, touchdown, and 3 and out, and touchdown, and, KJ gets targeted by not one, but two Alabama players, double targeting. Refs look at it. No flag, no penalty. KJ's concussed. Probably won't play against Mississippi State. So, yeah. That's Hogs are right back where they, whatever. So, anyways, we'll go ahead and here get into a recap of last week's games. Start off with our what was the game of the week? I know the teams. I don't remember. Time to go back to the tape. Bear with me. The Powerade Zero game of the week between myself and Shade's Dynasty. Shade was feeling pretty good, 2-1. Had been playing pretty well the last couple weeks. I really needed somebody to put him in his place. Week one he didn't do very well, but Blaine respectable 110-85. It's like a 25-point beat down. So I didn't beat him by as much as I would have liked, as much as it was shaping up to be. Going into Sunday night, I mean, he was down 80-something points going into Sunday night with only Kelsey and playoff Lombardi Lenny to play. Fortunately for him, they salvaged his day. Got 24 points, 18 points. Hold on. Oh, kids, gotta love them. Yeah, I mean, it continues the trend of players who are playing against me in prime time just absolutely balling out. I mean, having their best game of the season in prime time against me. I've played somebody with primetime players in all 4 matchups. I really think that if I hadn't played anybody with primetime matchups, I'd be 4-0. But alas, I'm not. I was still nervous, even being up 85 points. I mean, shit, you never know with players on both sides, both teams. Very possible that they could both pop off versus if they're on the same team, maybe, they're going to limit each other. But, whatever. Great week. Russ got back on track, 31 points. McCaffrey, his best game of the year, 26. Sutton, good game. Brandon Cooks, great acquisition. Freiermuth had a great game. Got nothing really from Kirk or Gabe Davis. But hey, it is what it is. So I moved to 3-1, second place in the league, third most points in the league. Feeling good. Feeling good about my team. I mean, they continue to get banged up and don't want to play. We'll get into that. I mean, Michael Thomas is hurt already. Only took him, 3 weeks into the season. Not practicing again this week. He's not a player who's going to play through injuries, fight through injuries. Hopefully we'll be getting Swift back in a couple weeks. Probably not going to play this week. But, and Cordero went on the IR. Oh well. Running back room is looking very, very thin at the moment, but we'll make it. We'll make do. And, for Shade, I mean, really, he needs Dak to come back and ball out. Both of his quarterbacks were garbage this week. I'm not going to get on him too bad. 97 points. Yeah, you're under 100. That's never a good deal, but, I think there's still pieces there for Shade to be a fringe playoff contender and fight, but he's going to have to get lucky, I think. So, hold on. Make up your mind, man. Okay. All right. Hopefully that's enough of that. If you hear me talking a little weird, I got this cut on the tip of my tongue. So makes it a little difficult to talk sometimes. I've been talking all day the last 2 days. So that doesn't really help it heal. You think being an engineer, I would just sit in my cubicle and not talk to anybody all day, but I have to do a surprising amount of talk. So, anyway, moving on here. A great bounce back game for the Cataclysmic Catches after they suffered their first loss of the season last week. Put up 170 points. Not a single player, every single player on his team was in double digits. With 4 of those players, or 3 of those players being pretty much at 30 points. Behemoth monster of a week for Wilson. He gets to 3-1, looking like he's every week is another step closer to his first playoff berth in league history for him. So exciting stuff for him. And then, you look at the other side, and JD only puts up 87 points. I believe that's back-to-back weeks below 100 points for JD. No, he did score. He had a good game last week, 132. This was the first week under 100 points for JD. But, Jonathan Taylor out this week, gonna hurt. Deontay did nothing. Kittle looks like a bum. Doesn't get any targets. Oh, man. I like the names on JD's roster. I really do. I think it's a good team. I don't think that this team should be 0-4, but it is. It's one of the lower scoring teams in the league. And just be perfectly blunt with you, an 0-4 team has never made the playoffs. And I don't know that this is a year that trend bucks. So, keep fighting and keep clawing, and basically you're just trying to position your team so you don't get horse-assed at the end of the year. Because trust me, buddy, you especially, probably even more than me, do not want to win horse-assing again, okay? Because you just don't want to do it, okay? Let's not open that box. Because once you open that box, Pandora doesn't go out, all right? It doesn't go back in. It only comes out. So, next here, we have the Toilet Bowl matchup, 2 0-3 teams. Golly, Duncan, just a terrible break for him. This is the second game this season where he is put up an extremely respectable point total. This is a phenomenal point total. And comes out the loser to fall to 0-4. Just extremely bad luck this season for Duncan. I really don't think his team is that good, despite him putting up 162. But, Josh Jacobs did very well. Justin Jefferson got back on track. Mixon had a good game. Rodgers had a good game. But the fact that Savoy put up 171 points, having a non-active player even in his lineup, getting a gooser, it's just phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. And you look at his receivers, very thin at the receiver room. Because you would think, hey, if he plays the right guy, he might be flirting with a 200-point game, Not to be the case. I mean, his receivers are dog shit. He would have got maybe 9 more points if he was able to set an actual lineup. But his punishment has been served. I'm glad that he answered his team answered my call out last week. They responded, played well for his birthday. What better birthday gift can you get than getting a fantasy dub, and especially a dominant highest point total of the season, I believe, so far. And he is now somehow has the second most points in the league. So, good job for Savoy. 1-0-3 team has made the playoffs. They won the whole thing. Of course, they ended up going 1-3, and Savoy is well on his way to potentially fighting and clawing and seeing if he can't get in contention for a playoff spot, because I think his roster is certainly talented enough to do it. And the guys that he'll have come playoff time, I would not want to be the one to face him come playoff time. It would be a real shame if this was a repeat of 2020, where I was the 3 seed, Savoy was the 6 seed, probably the best 6 seed in league history, and just dominated my ass week 1, round 1 of the playoffs. So, good job for Savoy, 1-3. Duncan is 0-4. Pretty much playoff hopes are gone. So, next here we got doesn't contribute. Congrats, Craig. You finally broke 100 points for the first time this season. Just absolutely obliterated. Just absolutely obliterated Connor. 124 to 85. Penny had a great game. Outside of that, not a lot of production. With it just goes to show his team goes with how well Lamar and Mark Andrews play, and they combined for not even 20 points this week. And that's the only way that Connor can win games. That's the only reason he's won the 2 games that he's won so far is because of Lamar and Mark Andrews, and sometimes even that's not enough. And if they don't perform, he doesn't have a shot in hell of winning because the rest of his roster is not good enough. And now he did get a little lucky with the Javonte injury by having Melvin Gordon. I imagine that situation could turn muddled very quickly in Denver. I think Latavius is going to get enough run to be frustrating for Melvin, and I think Mike Boone is going to check in on the passing down work, even though he can't pass pro and he can't catch the ball. But Plunk's 2-2, looking shaky, but hey, he's looked shaky in the past, and he's won the last 3 years. So what are you going to do? And Craig is a surprising 3-1. I mean, this is the first win that he's deserved all year. Credit to him. Started off the week strong with T. Higgins on Thursday night, and ended it strong on Sunday night from Brady and Jeff Wilson on Monday. So, not a lot of depth to speak of on Craig's team, but his lineup is his team's still not good. There's been 3-1 is not a lock to make the playoffs. I mean, there's been a number of teams. It's only a what? It's oh, come on, where is it? Hall of Records. I'm almost done getting this stuff out. I want to do a couple more things before I release the updated Hall of Records to y'all. Yeah, excuse me. Going 3-1, only 61% of the teams that have gone 3-1 went on to make the playoffs. A little caveat with that too. That number is slightly skewed against the 3-1 teams. Because the vast majority of the seasons only had 4 teams making the playoffs. You know, I think if you looked at ever since we expanded to 6 teams, teams that go 3-1, that percentage is probably a little bit higher. And you can really throw out those early seasons as well, because you had teams that would start 3-1 and 4-1 all the time and just somehow just destroy their team and not, make it. Because it's basically just 2 people who were competent back then. That was Nick and myself. So just don't forget, that was 2 of Nick's championships, or whenever the league basically was worthless. So anyways, yeah, Connor will be fine. He'll probably still make the playoffs. So next here we got Fat Bastards. No. Next here we got Razorback. No. Discount Double Check and Swamp Donkeys. Rip puts a beat down on Blaine had a respectable week. 117, perfectly fine. Somebody just mentioned me. It'd be Blaine Hill. You're really gonna feel cursed after playing me at the commish. Respectable point total for Blaine, 117. Gets you a win most of the time in this league. Blaine is a very dangerous 2-2. I mean, he certainly could be 3-1. I do like his team. Saquon's looking like probably the best pick of the first round so far early on in the season. Damian Pierce, what a steal. But Kyle Pitts hasn't got going yet. He's playing roulette on the wide receiver wheel most weeks, because outside of really Amon-Ra, that's really his only established guy. But Hopkins will be coming back here in a few weeks. And hey, receiver is one of those positions you can gamble on. I mean, you can just play week to week, and people will get hurt. People will have good matchups, and you can, like Josh Reynolds is a perfect example of that. He's been playing the waiver wire well as far as receivers go. He had a great game from Russell Gage last week. So, but yeah, another dominant performance by Rip, 140 points. It looks unbeatable. Similar to last year where he was just beating people to sleep, cruised his way to the 1 seed scoring title, similar to how Plunk was in, I believe, the 2020 season, just dominant, beating people to sleep. And, the only difference between those 2 teams is one of them sealed the deal, one of them didn't. I don't know if Rip could handle going through another dominant season like that, but hats off to Rip. He's been just killing the draft the last 2 years, and this year was a little buffered by having Cooper Kupp and Debo. But getting Hurts, getting Henry at 104, getting Tyreek in the second, really. Having Singletary be so, solid RB2. Breece Hall is emerging as a dominant RB2, looks like. Maybe even a fringe RB1. So, yeah, really, if he could get consistent production from Waller, this team can't be touched, barring injury. So, yeah, he's 4-0. He's got almost 100-point lead in points for. Not points forced, it's points for, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think Blaine's fine. Blaine's going to make the playoffs, but yeah, I mean, just rip his wagon right now. So, and then that brings us to our doo-doo, poo-poo, throw up all over yourself, throw up blood, get concussed, have your wrist guard. Team of the week, Razorback Revival, 78.2 points, sitting at 1-3. Pretty pathetic. Pretty pathetic. I just don't know what else to say. I said I was going to shame the shit out of you, but now that I'm seeing it, it's just kind of sad. The Zach Wilson, I guess, is saying there's only one Wilson in town. Just didn't really want to get Garrett Wilson involved in the game plan. Pittman was bottled up by probably maybe the second worst secondary in the league. Waddle did nothing, hobbled on a Thursday night. A.J. Brown, he's good. A.J. Brown is good. A.J. Dillon, should have probably sold high on him. Dalvin is the bionic shoulder man, is just RB2 that you took in the first round. So, and Derek Carr. Bold choice to stick with Derek Carr against Denver. Guess he didn't have the balls to pick up Geno. Folks, you got to ask yourselves, Nick maybe has Nick lost a step? Nick is riding one of the longest active playoff streaks in league history, him and Connor. They've made the playoffs. Nick has been in the playoffs every year since 2017. 5 seasons and running. Might be the year. How many teams have made the playoffs after going 1-3? 6 out of 32. So less than 20% of them. Less than 20%. Whew, I don't know. I tell you what you don't want to do. You don't want to go 1-4. You go 1-4, happened 17 times. One time has a team made the playoffs after starting 1-4. So for those 0-4 teams, there actually is a little bit of hope. So my statistic is actually skewed a little bit. One 0-4 team. No, they weren't 0-4. No, I take that back. It was correct. Because they might have been 1-1 at one point and went 1-4 to get to 1-4. So yeah, any team that starts 0-4 you've never made. Yeah. So, whoops. Sorry. Sorry, JD and Duncan, for the false hope. But yeah, pathetic. It's pathetic. He needs a quarterback desperately. He needs running back help desperately, which he's got Algier. Could be okay. His wide receiver room is fine. Really, what he needs to do is he needs to flip one of them for a running back or for a quarterback. And I'm sure he's working. He knows that. He's a smart guy. He's probably working his little magic out there right now to try to make something happen, but it's not looking good at the moment. So, and hey, credit to Ford. Back-to-back weeks now, we have an under 100-point scorer win. So whatever, 3-1. Congrats. So all right, whatever. Waiver wire pickups, fine. No big names. All right, so let's go ahead and get into a recap. No, the recap preview of this week's matchups. Start off here with what was going to be the game of the week. Whatever. Myself versus Blaine. I'm projected to win 119-0. I think if Blaine had his full complement of guys in there, it probably would be like 119 to like 125 maybe. Just spitballing. I think Blaine's going to provide a very good test because he has some juicy matchups this week for most of his guys. And I think that he will put up a very strong week again. We're talking 115 plus. And my matchups, conversely, are not as juicy. So I feel like I say that, like deja vu. I feel like I say those combination of words almost every week, maybe multiple times a week, multiple times a video. We'll see. Swift is probably going to be out. Michael Thomas, I bet, is out again. So, whatever. Maybe I'll start Geno. Probably not. Oh, hey, come here. You see it, kitty? They're getting big. Oh, whoa. Look how big this guy is. I remember the last time you saw him, he was tiny. Actually, you might have seen him on a video earlier this year. I don't remember. So, there's Loki. He's getting big. Here you go. Good job. Yeah. So I got to put up. I got to put up. I got to outperform. My guys got to outperform expectations this week, and get it done. This is a big game for Blaine. You go 2-3. I don't have the metrics in front of me. It's something I'm working on. You go 2-3 versus 3-2. That can be a big swing to your playoff chances. Conversely, if you go, if I am able to go 4-1, just bumps those odds of me making the playoffs even more. So, big win, big game. I think it's going to be a big win for myself. So, gonna have to, I wouldn't hitch your wagons to the donkeys this week. Just a little FYI. All right, next here we got Kickers Lives Matter versus Plunk, a little get right game for Connor. I don't see Duncan repeating the performance that he had last week. I think it'll be respectable. I think if Duncan was protected a little bit less and Plunk was protected a little bit less, maybe this was like 110 to 120, probably would have taken the over in this one. But, I think that Plunk has... Look at those reflexes, boy. You see that? Just caught something before it fell. Still got it. Fastest hands in the West. Bateman may or may not play. Another gift for him with JT not playing. He has Nyheim Hines, of course, but, Denver is a very good defense. This guy is just probably one of the luckiest owners I've seen over the span of the last 3 years, 3 seasons. How every break just seems to go his way blows my mind. You got to think that the luck has got to run out eventually, right? So, I don't know. But, Plunk's got the better team on paper. I'm going to go with Plunk in that one. I think Duncan, unfortunately, falls to 0-5. So, next here, we got the Fat Bastards versus If You Lose to Me, You Really Suck. I think that Savoy needs to change his team name. You can't drop 170 and say people lose to you. If you lose to me, you suck. Flat out. He's projected to win 126 to 116. Change your team name. Come on. You do it 3 to 4 times every season anyway. It's fine. Nobody's going to care. Ford's having to start Rex Burkhead this week, and oh man, Ford might want to. Him and Craig might be two of the worst 3-1 teams I've ever seen. As to how they got to 3-1, I don't know. I really don't know. All right, we're gonna go with Savoy in that one. He gets the second win of the season. Next here we got Cooter Gain versus Doesn't Contribute. JD's projected to win 117 to 86. Craig doesn't have 3 players in his lineup at the moment. Probably. It's not great. Yeah, I'm going to go with Craig in that one. I think JD also falls to 0-5. I don't think we've ever had two teams start the season 0-5. I think it might happen. So riveting. I did all the analysis in my head. So you gotta pay for the premium subscription, like and subscribe to be able to get access to the internal monologue whenever I'm looking through these games. So trust me, well worth the price of admission. Penultimate matchup here, we got Shade Dynasty versus Discount Double Check. Again, not much to say here. We're going to rip big in that one until Rip proves otherwise. He's going to slip up eventually, probably once the buys get going. He'll lose one or two, but nobody on buy, nobody injured. Rip's not going to lose a game to anybody in the league. He's just not. So, yeah, I think he drops Shade to 2-3, and he gets off to a 5-0 start. So, all right, that brings us to our game of the week here. Let's see. Y'all see me suffer even more on camera. I probably shouldn't be doing this with my mouth in the condition that it is, but you know, whatever. I do it for the fans. I do it for the people. Our extra sour crybaby bubblegum game of the week. This is extra sour bubblegum. No nutritional facts on this. It is a product of Canada, Concord Brands. I don't know if that's a rival for y'all, Nestle or wherever. But yeah, it's I love sour stuff. These are extremely sour. You know, usually, and it lasts a pretty decent amount of time. I mean, about 30 seconds of just pure misery or agony. You'll be able to see it on my face here shortly. But, you know, once it's done, you chew the gum and the sourness is gone almost instantly. As soon as you take that first bite, it's gone. The bubble gum has some, I guess, detoxifying substance inside of it that really kills that sour vibe. So, anyway, extra sour crybaby gum by Double Bubble. That's the brand, Double Bubble. So it is very good bubbles. The official sour bubble gum of the Bring That Wood Fantasy Football League. It's a little, the sour stuff's kind of. Hold on, this is a bad one. I'm not gonna cheat you guys. I'm not gonna cheat you. There we go. Yep. Here we go. This is a good one. Yep. I couldn't cheat you guys. I could tell that one wasn't going to be a good one. This is it. So cheers. Oh. Ooh. That's some sour stuff, boy. Ooh. You gotta get it all around, you know. You gotta look off all the sour before you chew. Woo, boy. That's some good stuff right there. All right. Go. Whew. Alrighty. Alright, so that is the Cataclysmic Catches versus Razorback Revival. You know, on paper, not looking like a 3-1 team versus a 1-3 team. You know, Wilson's going to blow them out. You're probably right. You are probably right. If I was a betting man, I might put some money on that game. But, you know, this is a must-win for Nick. He usually responds well in these situations. So, battle of the quarterback, you got Patty Mahomes versus Derek Carr. Monday night game, so this game is going to come down to Monday night, most likely. Don't think that this one is particularly close. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is lit up, one of the best defenses in the NFL. The Las Vegas Raiders are not that. They got torched by Russell Wilson. But I do think Derek Carr should have a decent game, 20-plus points. But we're going to go with Patty in that one. Battle of the running back, you got Nick Chubb and Miles Sanders versus A.J. Dillon and Dalvin Cook. Both decently tough matchups for Nick's guys. I think Miles Sanders should eat against Arizona. Their defense sucks. And Chubb, it really just depends on if LA gets that offense going. Because he could potentially be game scripted out of the game if the Chargers just get on him from the jump. So, that one's a little scary. I'll probably go with the overall talent, and we'll go with Wilson in that one as well. Battle of the wide receivers. You got Mike Evans, Robert Woods, Mike Williams versus Michael Pittman, Jalen Waddle, and A.J. Brown. Another tough matchup with Surtain probably being on Pittman for the majority of the game. But A.J. Terrell will be on Mike Evans. I'm going to go with Nick's guys in that one. There's a little bit sexier names, you know what I mean? That's about as deep as the analysis goes. And then you got Zach Ertz, revenge game against the Eagles versus his replacement, Dallas Goedert. So that Chiefs-Raiders game and that Eagles-Cardinals game is going to go a long way in determining the outcome of this matchup. I'm going to push that one. We're going to push that one. And then Battle of the Flex, you got Garrett Wilson versus Corey Davis, two New York Jet wide receivers. Potentially Montgomery might be back. I think if he's not back, then it's probably going to be Khalil. If he is back, it should be Montgomery in that flex. So, Latavius Murray just scored a touchdown against the Vikings. So, either way, he doesn't have it in there now, but I'm going to just project that Wilson has in Montgomery/Herbert, and I'm going to go with him over Garrett Wilson. So, ultimately, I think that the quarterback is probably what does it in this one. Patty Mahomes might put up a 40-burger, and I think he drops Nick to 1-4 and puts him on very, very thin ice of making the playoffs. So, anyways, Hogs are playing at Mississippi State this week. Probably not with KJ at the quarterback. I guess it's going to be Caleb Fortin, guy who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn from what I saw. But he loves to throw it deep. Malik will probably get mixed in a lot more too if KJ's out. Even if KJ played, we would probably have to put up 45 points to beat them because I just don't see us stopping them. I don't know. I think just like last season, we're going to go on a 3-game losing streak here, 3-game conference losing streak. So, anyway, that's all I got this week, fellas. Y'all stay safe out there. Good luck this week. And as always, whoop pig.